The black sea of space was quiet, but not peaceful. Debris floated everywhere, broken pieces of ships, drifting bodies, and fire still glowing in the dark. A battle had ended only hours ago, but silence made it feel like ghosts were still watching. Commander. Raylan's small patrol ship moved slowly between the wreckage. His orders were simple: scan the area, search for survivors, and return to base. But Raylan knew better. After battles like this, survivors were rare. Usually all he found were fragments of lives already gone. Still, his eyes scanned every corner. Something in his gut told him this part of space was not finished with him. Then, his radar beeped. A faint signal. Weak. Almost gone. Raylan narrowed his eyes and adjusted the scanner. It was not a ship, not a weapon. It was small. Too small. His heart skipped. An escape pod. He pulled the ship closer. The pod was dented and scratched, drifting with no power. Most pods carried distress lights, but this one was dark. If the signal was real, whoever was inside had minutes left, maybe seconds. Raylan clenched his jaw. He opened the comms. "Control, this is Patrol 6. I've located an escape pod, requesting permission to dock." Static answered. Then a cold voice. "Negative. Patrol 6. Area is not secure. Do not engage." Raylan stared at the pod. Through the small, cracked window, he thought he saw movement. A tiny shadow. A figure. Someone was alive. His orders were clear, but his instincts screamed louder. He shut off the comms. For the first time in years, he disobeyed command. "Hang on," he whispered. "I'm coming." The docking arms of his ship reached out, pulling the pod inside. The metal creaked as if it might break apart completely. Raylan rushed down the corridor, his boots echoing. When the pod door hissed open, smoke poured out, and with it, silence. He coughed, waved the smoke away, and looked inside. His breath caught. It was a child. Not human. She was small, thin, with pale silver skin that shimmered faintly in the dim light. Her eyes were too large for her face, glowing a soft blue like hidden stars. She wore torn fabric, nothing more, and her hands trembled as she clutched her knees. Raylan froze. He had fought her kind before, or so he thought. But never this close. Never a child. The girl blinked at him, fear sharp in her glowing eyes. When he stepped forward, she pressed against the wall, as if she expected him to strike her. Raylan slowly raised his hands. "Easy, I won't hurt you." The girl's breathing was shallow. The air system in the pod had failed. She would not last long. Without thinking, Raylan pulled off his oxygen mask and placed it gently over her small face. She gasped, coughed, then took in the air like it was the first breath of her life. Her eyes softened slightly, but her body still shook. "You're safe now," Raylan whispered. He wasn't sure if she understood, but his voice carried a promise. Minutes later, Raylan carried her into the medbay. The ship's lights flickered as systems adjusted, but he barely noticed. He set her on the bed and wrapped a thermal blanket around her fragile body. For a long time, she did not speak. She only stared at him, as though measuring his soul. Raylan sighed and sat on the edge of the bed. "What were you doing out there? Alone?" No answer. The silence pressed on him like weight. He had risked everything to bring her aboard. If command discovered this, his career would be finished, maybe worse. Harboring an alien child was no small crime, but something inside told him leaving her would have been worse. Finally, the girl parted her lips. Her voice was quiet, broken, but clear. "They're coming." Raylan leaned closer. "Who's coming?" Her eyes widened, glowing brighter, as if fear itself lived inside them. She whispered again, voice shaking. "They will find us." A chill crawled down Raylan's spine. He looked at the stars outside the window. For the first time, he felt hunted. Hours passed, but Raylan could not rest. He checked the scanners again and again, searching the darkness. The girl slept fitfully, whispering words in her strange language. Sometimes she cried. He sat in silence, wrestling with his thoughts. Why had he done this? Why risk his future, his life, for one alien child? He could not explain it. All he knew was that when he looked at her, he saw something he had not seen in years. Innocence in a universe built on war. Then the radar beeped again. This time, it was no weak signal. A fleet. Approaching fast, Raylan's blood ran cold. His hands tightened on the controls. The girl's warning echoed in his mind. They will find us. The stars outside shifted as dark shapes appeared, silent hunters sliding through space. Their weapons glowed, searching. Raylan swallowed hard. He whispered to himself, "What have I done?" The child stirred in her sleep, clutching the blanket tighter as if she already knew. The hunt had begun. The silence of space never lasted long. Raylan had learned this the hard way. One moment, stars looked calm, endless, almost beautiful. Next moment, death arrived with engines that roared like thunder. On his radar, shadows grew. Not one, not two. An entire formation. The fleet that the alien child had warned about. Raylan's heart pounded. He dimmed the ship's lights and cut power to non-essential systems. His patrol craft became a shadow drifting among other shadows. If the hunters scanned too close, he would be finished. The child, still wrapped in a thermal blanket, opened her glowing eyes. She looked straight at him, as if she could already sense the danger. "They are here," she whispered. Raylan nodded. Grimly, "I see them." Her voice trembled. "If they find me, they will kill you. And me." The hunters spread out like wolves. Each ship carried sharp angles, black armor, and silent engines. They glided through the wreckage of the old battlefield, scanning for survivors. Raylan adjusted the controls, moving his ship behind a broken cruiser's hull. Metal debris drifted slowly, covering him like camouflage. His breath felt heavy. He was used to being the hunter, not the prey. Through the window, he saw one of the enemy ships slide past, close enough that he could see its glowing weapon ports. The child gripped the blanket, her knuckles pale silver. Raylan whispered, "Stay quiet. Stay still." Suddenly, his communicator crackled. The captain of his patrol group appeared, voice sharp and suspicious. "Commander Raylan, we've detected unusual activity near your sector. Report your status." Raylan froze. If he answered, the hunters might hear his signal. If he stayed silent, his captain would know he was hiding something. He pressed the button, forcing his voice steady. "This is Patrol 6, still scanning debris. No activity to report." The captain's voice carried doubt. "Understood. Return to base. Immediately." Raylan hesitated. Return to base? With the child aboard? Impossible. If command discovered her, she would be taken away. Or worse. He looked at the girl. Her glowing eyes begged him silently. "Don't let them take me." He switched off the comms. Again. Another crime. Another risk. Minutes passed like hours. The hunters kept circling. One of them paused, scanning the broken cruiser Raylan hid behind. Beams of white light crawled across the wreck. Raylan's chest tightened. He held his breath as if that could make the whole ship quieter. The child suddenly reached out, touching the console with trembling fingers. "What are you doing?" Raylan hissed. Her eyes glowed brighter, and the ship's power readings dropped even lower. Lights dimmed until almost nothing remained. The scanner beam passed over them, then moved away. The hunter glided onward. Raylan stared at her. "How did you—" She shook her head. "Not now. They will come back." The danger wasn't over. Far from it. Raylan's ship jolted as a message flashed across his screen. Encrypted. Unknown. Origin. He opened it cautiously. Words appeared, cold and sharp. "We know what you carry. Return her now, or Earth will burn." Raylan's mouth went dry. Whoever these hunters were, they knew about the child. They knew about him, and they were threatening his world. The girl saw the message and shut her eyes. "They want me because of what I am. If you keep me, they will hunt you forever. Raylan looked at her. She was only a child, fragile and scared, but something told him she was more than she appeared. A secret worth chasing, a truth worth killing for. His voice was steady, almost calm. Then let them come, I won't hand you over. Her lips trembled. No one had ever said those words to her before, but defiance had its cost. The hunters must have sensed something because their formation suddenly shifted. Engines roared, weapons hummed. One ship turned directly toward Raylan's hiding place. Hold, tight, he muttered. He powered the engines to life, the quiet camouflage gone. His ship shot forward, weaving through debris. Beams of red light followed, slicing apart floating wreckage like paper. The girl clung to her seat, eyes wide with terror. You can't fight them. They are too many. Raylan's jaw tightened. Maybe, but I'm not going to sit and die. He spun the ship hard left, dodging another blast. The small patrol craft shook violently, but it held together. He fired a counter blast, hitting nothing, but buying himself seconds. The hunters chased him, dark shadows growing closer. Inside the cockpit, alarms blared. Systems were overheating, shields draining. One more direct hit and the ship would tear apart. Raylan glanced at the girl. She pressed her hand against the console again. The ship's systems flickered strangely, as though they were responding to her touch. Suddenly, power surged back into the engines. Raylan blinked. Did you just... She met his gaze, her glowing eyes fierce for the first time. I can help you, but only if you trust me. He didn't know what she was. He didn't know what danger she carried. But he had already risked everything for her once. Now there was no turning back. Do it, he said. Her hands glowed brighter. The ship screamed forward, faster than it had ever gone. The hunters fell behind, their scanners confused, their weapons missing every shot. Raylan grinned for the first time that night. Good girl. But deep down, a question burned in his mind. What kind of child has this kind of power? And why are they so afraid of her secret? For now, they were alive. But survival was not victory. The hunters would not give up. And Raylan knew the truth. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a fugitive, carrying a child who could change everything. And the galaxy was already watching. Space stretched endlessly, but Raylan felt trapped. His small patrol craft sped away from the hunters, yet he knew it was only a matter of time before they caught up again. He had no plan, no allies, only a fragile ship, and the alien child sitting beside him. Her silver skin shimmered faintly in the dim cockpit light. She hugged the blanket close, but her glowing eyes stayed fixed on the stars. She did not look afraid anymore. She looked expectant. Raylan finally broke the silence. Who are they? Why do they want you so badly? The girl turned her head, slowly. Because of what I can do. Raylan frowned. What you can do? You mean that trick with the engines back there? Her lips curved in the smallest, saddest smile. That was not a trick. That was me. Ships listened to me. Before Raylan could reply, the console beeped. The scanners had picked up something strange ahead. An energy signature hidden deep inside an asteroid field. Not human, not hunter. Something different. Raylan leaned closer. That's impossible. It looks like a ship, but the reading's all wrong. The girl's eyes widened. It is not impossible, it is calling me. Raylan shot her a sharp look. Calling you? Ships don't... But then, his own console flickered. Words scrolled across the screen in a language he didn't understand. Glowing faintly blue, the same color as the girl's eyes. Raylan's skin prickled. That's no accident, the girl whispered almost reverently. It's one of ours. Raylan hesitated. Entering the asteroid field was suicide. Sharp rocks spun endlessly, colliding, breaking apart, crashing into each other. His patrol craft was not built for this, but behind them the hunters were regrouping. They would not give up. He clenched his jaw. If it's a choice between dying here or being shot out there, I'll take my chances. The ship dived into the asteroid belt. The hull rattled as rocks scraped by. Raylan's hands danced over the controls, dodging left, rolling right, weaving through a storm of stone. The child pressed her palm to the console again. Instantly, the ship's sensors lit up, mapping a safe path as if the asteroids themselves moved out of the way. Raylan stared at the glowing display. "You're doing this?" She nodded silently. Together, they slipped deeper until the strange signal pulsed stronger, and then they saw it. Hidden in the shadows of the belt floated a massive vessel. It was unlike any human design, smooth, curved, as if grown rather than built. Its surface shimmered with faint blue lines, like veins of light. Raylan whispered, "Odd, what in the stars?" The girl's voice was quiet, reverent. "My people's ship, old, very old." The vessel was silent, lifeless, drifting. Yet Raylan could feel something from it, like a presence waiting, sleeping. His scanners barely made sense of the readings. The hull seemed to bend space itself. He guided his ship closer, docking clumsily, with a side hatch that opened as if recognizing them. No codes, no force, just acceptance. The girl touched the airlock door, and it hissed open. Inside, the air was still and heavy. Blue light ran across the walls like rivers, glowing brighter with each of their steps. The silence was deep, almost sacred. Raylan's boots echoed softly as he followed the child through empty corridors. No dust, no signs of life, but also no decay. It felt as though the ship had been waiting for this very moment. The girl finally stopped in a wide chamber. At its center stood a strange structure, a tall, glowing column filled with light that pulsed gently like a heartbeat. She stepped forward, placing her small hands on the surface. The column flared brighter, filling the chamber with warmth. Raylan shielded his eyes. "What are you doing?" The girl's voice echoed with new strength. "Waking it." The walls vibrated, systems powered on, panels lit up, filling with data. The whole ship hummed like a living creature stirring from sleep. Raylan staggered back. You control it?" She turned, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. "Not control. Bond. My people are connected to ships like this. We do not build them. We grow with them." Raylan's throat tightened. He had heard rumors, whispers of alien races who bonded with machines, but nothing like this. "That's why the hunters want you. If humans knew about this," her voice lowered, "they would use us like tools, like weapons." Raylan had no answer. He already knew she was right. Suddenly, alarms shrieked through the chamber. The ship's sensors had detected movement outside. The hunters had tracked them into the asteroid field. On the glowing panels, Raylan saw their ships closing in fast. The girl pressed her palms harder against the column. "We can escape, but I need you to trust me again." Raylan's pulse hammered. "Escape how? This ship's dead." Her eyes blazed. "Not anymore." The entire vessel shuddered as engines roared to life, brighter and stronger than anything Raylan had ever heard. The smooth hull outside glowed with energy, pushing the asteroids aside like waves in an ocean. Raylan stumbled into the pilot's seat, though he realized he was not the one flying. The girl was. The ship was. Together. Hunters swarmed into the field, firing, but beams bounced off an energy shield that had bloomed around the vessel like a second skin. Raylan laughed in disbelief. "You've got to be kidding me." The ship surged forward, weaving through the asteroids with impossible grace. For the first time, Raylan felt like a passenger inside a living thing. The hunters tried to follow, but they were clumsy. One crashed into a spinning rock. Another was sliced apart by fragments. The alien vessel darted through them, untouchable, unstoppable. Raylan turned to the girl. She looked calm now, her hands steady on the glowing column. For the first time since he had found her, she did not look afraid. Raylan whispered, "What are you?" She met his gaze with quiet strength. "I am Lyra." Her name hung in the air like a secret revealed. And as the hunters fell behind, Raylan realized something chilling. This child was not just a survivor. She was the key to a power both humans and her enemies would kill to possess. And now, he was part of her secret. The alien ship drifted through space like a silent predator. Its glowing lines pulsed with life, engines humming with a rhythm unlike any human craft. Raylan sat at the pilot's chair, but he knew the truth. He wasn't really flying. Lyra was. The child sat with her hands on the living console, her glowing eyes locked on the streams of data dancing across the walls. Raylan had fought in 100 battles, faced death more times than he could count, but nothing unsettled him more than this. A child, small and fragile, guiding a vessel that seemed older than human history. At last the tension broke when a familiar voice crackled through his comms. "Commander Raylan." "Respond immediately. This is Captain Dross." Raylan froze. His captain. Somehow they had tracked him even inside this alien ship. His stomach twisted. He switched the comms to low volume, not wanting Lyra to hear. "Captain," Raylan said carefully. "I read you." The captain's voice was sharp, cold. "You are ordered to return at once. You've gone dark, ignored commands, and your beacon shows you've docked with unknown tech. Explain yourself." Raylan's throat was dry. If he told the truth, they would take Lyra away. If he lied, his own crew would brand him a traitor. Before he could answer, another voice cut into the comms. Familiar, friendly. "Raylan, it's me, Lieutenant Varen. Don't worry, I'll cover for you. Just tell me what's happening." Relief rushed through Raylan. Varen had been his closest ally for years, a friend he trusted with his life. If anyone would understand, it was him. Hours later, the alien ship slowed near a quiet sector, far from patrol lanes. Raylan paced the control room, thinking. Lyra rested in a corner, exhausted from powering the ship's systems. A door slid open behind him. Varen stepped inside. Raylan blinked. "You actually came?" Varen smirked. "Of course. I told the captain you were chasing survivors. He thinks you'll report back soon." Raylan let out a shaky breath. "Thank you. I didn't know who to trust." His friend glanced around at the glowing walls. "This place... Stars, Raylan. It's not human tech. What is this?" Raylan hesitated. "It's hers." He nodded toward Lyra. Varen's gaze shifted to the child. She stared back silently, her blue eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Raylan lowered his voice. "She's not just a survivor. She's connected to this ship. I think she can control it, maybe all of them." For a moment, Varen's face softened with awe. Then it hardened. "So the rumors were true," he muttered. "Aliens who can bond with machines. Raylan, do you know what this means?" Raylan's jaw tightened. "I know exactly what it means, which is why she can't fall into anyone's hands. Not the hunters, not ours." Varen studied him carefully. His eyes were unreadable. Later, while Lyra slept, Raylan and Varen shared a quiet meal from the ship's ration packs. For a brief moment, it felt like old times. Two soldiers sharing trust in a hostile galaxy. But Raylan's instincts whispered, unease. Varen asked too many questions. About the ship, about the child, about what she had shown. Finally, Raylan snapped, "What are you really doing here, Varen?" Varen leaned back, arms crossed. "Trying to save you, don't you see? You're playing with fire. If the command learns about this child, they'll brand you a traitor forever. But if we deliver her together, we'll be heroes. We'll change everything." Raylan's blood ran cold. He shook his head slowly. "You don't understand. Delivering her means destroying her. They won't treat her like a person. She's a weapon to them." Varen's expression hardened further. "And you'd risk Earth itself for one alien child? You've gone soft, Raylan." Raylan stood, fury in his chest. "And you've forgotten what it means to be human." The argument ended when alarms blared. The alien ship's systems lit red, warning of intrusion. Raylan dashed to the console. His stomach twisted when he saw the truth. Varen had secretly activated a beacon. A signal pulsed from the ship, sharp and undeniable. He hadn't come to help. He had come to betray. Raylan spun, rage in his voice. What have you done? Varen drew his blaster, face grim. What I had to. The captain will be here any minute. You can still stand down, Raylan. Hand her over. Lyra stirred awake. At the sound, eyes wide with fear, Raylan stepped in front of her, shielding her with his body. Don't do this, Varen, Raylan growled. His old friend's eyes flickered with regret, but he didn't lower the weapon. I warned you. You've gone too far. Moments later, the alien ship shook violently. Human vessels dropped out of warp nearby, weapons armed surrounding them. The betrayal was complete. Lyra clutched Raylan's arm, her voice trembling. They'll take me. They'll use me. You must not let them. Raylan's chest burned with fury and despair. His own people, his own friend, turning against him. Varen's voice was steady, almost cold. Raylan, don't make me fire. Move. Aside. Raylan met his eyes, searching for the man he once knew. But there was no trust left. Slowly, he shook his head. If you want her, you'll have to kill me first. For a long moment, silence hung heavy. Then the ship's lights flared, blue as Lyra touched the console again. Energy surged, shaking the floor. The hunters were coming. The humans were here, and now, Raylan was trapped between both. The alien ship streaked through space faster than any human vessel. Behind it, warships clashed, human fleets and hunters colliding in fire and chaos. But Raylan did not look back. His eyes were on the path ahead, on the strange pull guiding them through the stars. Lyra sat in the co-pilot's seat, her glowing hands pressed against the console. She did not speak, but her face was calm, almost serene. Raylan finally asked the question burning in his chest. Where are you taking us? Her eyes flickered toward him. Home. To the place my people fear most. The place they swore never to return. Raylan frowned. If they fear it, why go there? Because it holds the truth, she whispered. Hours later, the ship descended into orbit around a lonely planet. It was dark and cracked, covered in endless scars of ancient battles. Broken towers stretched into the skies like the bones of giants. The surface glowed faintly in places, rivers of blue light running through the ground like veins. Raylan stared through the viewport. Looks dead. Lyra shook her head. Not dead. Sleeping. The ship guided itself down, landing on a plateau near the ruins of a massive city. The air outside was thin but breathable. Raylan strapped on his sidearm and glanced at Lyra. You're sure about this? Her answer was quiet but firm. We must see. The ruins were vast, silent, filled with echoes of a forgotten age. Buildings carved from smooth stone and metal curved like flowing rivers. Strange symbols lined the walls, glowing faintly as if remembering the touch of their makers. Raylan walked carefully, his boots crunching against shattered ground. Lyra moved ahead, her small form almost glowing in the dim light. This was once the heart of my people, she said softly. Long before I was born, long before the hunters. Raylan frowned. Then what happened? She stopped at the edge of a massive pit. Inside, half buried in the earth, lay the skeleton of a machine larger than any battleship Raylan had ever seen. Its body was twisted and broken, its limbs sprawled like a fallen titan. Lyra's voice dropped to a whisper. This happened. Raylan climbed down into the pit, running his hand along the machine's shattered armor. It was alien, but he could see something familiar in the design. Lines, curves, angles, shapes that reminded him of early human starships. Wait, he muttered. This looks like us. Lyra's eyes met his. They glowed brighter, as if reflecting the truth she carried. Because it is. Your people built us. Raylan froze. The words felt like a hammer to his chest. Built? You? That's impossible. It is not, Lyra said softly. Long ago, ancient humans came here. They created us to bond with their machines, to build ships that could live and breathe. But then, they left. Or perhaps they were destroyed. We do not know. All we remember is abandonment. Raylan staggered back, his mind reeling. Humans had created them. If true, then Lyra and her people weren't just aliens. They were humanity's forgotten children. Before he could speak, the ground trembled. A deep hum rose from beneath the ruins. The broken Titan stirred. Its glowing eyes flickered to life, blue like Lyra's. Raylan's hand flew to his weapon, but Lyra raised a small hand. Do not fear. It knows me. The Titan's head turned slowly, its massive frame shuddering as energy flowed back through ancient circuits. Dust and stone fell as the machine systems awakened after centuries of silence. Raylan's mouth went dry. Stars above. The giant leaned down, staring at them with burning blue eyes. Then a voice boomed, not spoken but echoing inside Raylan's mind. You should not have come here. Raylan stumbled back. What is this thing? Lyra looked up calmly. It is a guardian, built to protect the secret of our creation. It will not harm us, unless we bring war. The guardian's voice thundered again. Humans and children cannot walk this world together. You repeat the mistakes of the past. Raylan clenched his fists. I didn't come here to repeat anything. I came to protect her. The guardian's glowing eyes pierced into him, judging. Then prove it. The war follows you even now. As if on cue, the sky above split open. Ships descended through the clouds, hunters, relentless as ever. Red beams lit the ruins, shaking the ground with explosions. Raylan cursed. We've been followed. The guardian rose to its full height, towering above the ruins. With a roar of energy, it raised its colossal arm, firing a beam that tore through the first hunter ship like paper. The crash shook the entire city. Lyra shouted above the chaos. The Guardians will fight for us, but only for a time. We must find the core. That is where the truth waits. Raylan glanced at the battle, then back at her. His instincts screamed to run, but something deeper told him she was right. Fine, he growled. Lead the way. Together they ran deeper, into the ruins as the Guardian fought above. Stone shattered, fire rained, and the sky burned. Yet even in the chaos, Raylan could not shake the weight of Lyra's words. Humans had built her people. And now both sides wanted her destroyed or controlled. The truth was buried here, in the heart of the forbidden world. And Raylan knew, whatever they uncovered next, would change everything. The ruins shook with thunder. Above the forbidden world, human fleets and hunter armadas faced each other, weapons glowing in the dark sky. Between them stood the ancient Guardian, firing beams of blue light that split the heavens. Raylan and Lyra ran through the crumbling halls of the ruined city, guided by glowing symbols along the walls. Every step carried them closer to the planet's core, but also closer to the impossible decision waiting for Raylan. He could already hear the voices in his head. Traitor, deserter, criminal. He had chosen to protect an alien child, and now the entire galaxy wanted his blood. Lyra's soft voice broke the silence. They will force you to choose, your people or me. Raylan's jaw tightened. Don't talk like that. There's always another way. But his own heart whispered doubt. The chamber they entered was vast, a circular hall with a floor of glowing glass. At the center floated a sphere of pure blue light, pulsing like a heartbeat. Energy crackled in the air, raising the hairs on Raylan's arms. Lyra stepped forward, eyes wide with awe. The core. This is the memory of my people. All our history, all our truth, lies here. Raylan kept one hand on his weapon, scanning the room. Then we better move fast. We're running out of time. The walls shook as another explosion rocked the surface. Moments later, the silence shattered. A loud voice thundered through the chamber speakers. Harsh, familiar. Raylan. Raylan froze. He knew that voice. His captain. A hologram flickered to life. Captain Dross, standing tall in his decorated uniform. Human soldiers flanked him, weapons drawn. "You've gone too far," Dross said coldly. "Hand over the child, do it now, and I'll make sure command shows mercy." Raylan's fists clenched. "Mercy? You'll cage her, use her. She's just a child." Dross's face hardened. "She's a weapon, a living key to technology beyond our reach. Do you really think I'll let you throw that away for pity?" Before Raylan could answer, another hologram appeared on the opposite side of the chamber. Sleek, sharp, alien. A hunter commander, eyes burning like fire. His voice hissed with venom. "Give the girl to us, human. She belongs to her people, not to you. If she stays with you, war will never end." The two figures glared at each other across the glowing hall, their fleets above ready to burn the skies, and Raylan stood between them. Dross barked, "Choose wisely, Commander. Return to your duty." The hunter hissed, "Or step aside and let her kind decide their fate." Both voices echoed the same truth. Raylan had no allies. Lyra stepped close to him, her small hand gripping his sleeve. Her voice trembled. "Do not give me to them. Not to either side. Promise me." Raylan looked down into her glowing eyes. He had promised himself he would never betray her. But now the weight of two civilizations pressed on his shoulders. If he chose wrong, millions could die. His voice cracked. "Lyra, what do you want?" Her answer was simple. "I want to live free." The chamber erupted as both fleets opened fire above. Explosions shook the ground, dust raining from the ceiling. The holograms flickered with static. Dross's voice barked, "This is your last chance, Raylan." The hunter's hiss grew sharper. "Human fool, she will never be yours." Raylan drew his blaster, pointing it at the floor, not at either of them. His voice was steady now. "No, she's not yours. She's not mine. She's not anyone's. Weapon." At that moment, Lyra placed her hands on the glowing core. Light exploded across the chamber, searing and brilliant. Symbols danced in the air, forming images, memories of the past. Raylan shielded his eyes. When the light cleared, he saw visions, humans long ago, building ships with glowing children beside them. Not slaves, not tools, but partners. Together, they had reached the stars. Then came fire, war, betrayal. The partnership ended, and history twisted into lies. The holograms faltered, both commanders stunned into silence. Lyra turned, her voice carrying with the strength of the core. "We were never meant to fight. We were meant to walk beside you," the human captain snarled. "Lies, manipulation." But his eyes betrayed fear. The hunter commander shouted, "Trickery." Yet even he looked shaken. Raylan stepped forward, voice firm. "You saw it, both of you. The truth is here. Humanity and her people were never enemies. We made that choice ourselves." The chamber rumbled as the core flared again, releasing waves of energy across the planet. The fleets above shuddered, their weapons shutting down, engines going silent. Raylan turned to Lyra. "What did you do?" Her face was calm. "I gave them a choice too. Fight no more, or lose everything." For the first time, silence returned to the skies. Two fleets once ready to destroy each other now floated powerless above the forbidden world. Raylan's breath came heavy, but his heart felt lighter than it had in years. The choice had been made. He had chosen her, not command, not war, not power. Just her. And somehow that choice had saved them all. But as the chamber dimmed and the visions faded, Raylan knew this was only the beginning. Peace was fragile, and secrets this big never stayed buried for long. The skies above the forbidden world were silent. Human warships floated powerless, their engines dead. The hunter fleet drifted beside them, weapons useless. The great guardian stood among the ruins, glowing eyes watching both sides. And in the heart of the planet, Raylan and Lyra stood before the core, bathed in its blue light. Raylan's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. He had seen the truth, Visions of humans and Lyra's people once walking side by side. Partners, not enemies. Allies, not tools. That truth had silenced fleets and commanders alike. But silence was not peace. It was only a pause before the storm returned. Lyra turned to him, her small face calm but her glowing eyes troubled. They will not stop. The truth frightens them. They will twist it, hide it, perhaps even destroy it. Raylan swallowed hard. He knew she was right. Both sides had seen the truth, but truth alone rarely changed hearts. Fear and power always pulled stronger. The core pulsed brighter, filling the chamber with warmth. A voice, deep and ancient, echoed in their minds. One last secret remains. Only a human and a child together may unlock it. Raylan's eyes widened. Another secret? What else could there be? Lyra reached for his hand. Her silver fingers trembled as they touched his calloused skin. If we open it, there is no going back. Raylan stared at her, then at the core. His voice was low. We've already gone too far to turn back now. Together they stepped forward, placing their hands on the glowing sphere. The core erupted, with light. Symbols swirled around them, faster and faster, until they became images once more. Raylan gasped as he saw them. Ancient humans, not just building ships, but leaving Earth itself. They spread across stars, creating colonies, civilizations, wonders beyond imagining. And beside them walked silver-skinned children, guiding living ships, keeping balance between man and machine. But then came something worse than war. A shadow, a darkness creeping across the stars. Machines twisted into monsters. Cities burned, not from betrayal but from something greater, an enemy neither human nor child. The vision ended with one final truth. The humans of old had not abandoned Lyra's people. They had fallen. They had fought the shadow and lost. Raylan staggered back, his throat dry. Stars above. This whole time we thought you were a mistake, but you were their last hope. Lyra's voice trembled. And now, we are yours. The holograms of the captains flickered back to life. Captain Dross's face was pale, his usual steel broken by fear. This changes nothing, he barked, though his voice shook. Command will never accept this. They will call it lies. The Hunter commander snarled, but even he could not hide the unease in his burning eyes. If what we saw is true, then a greater enemy still waits, one that will devour us all. Raylan stepped between them, his voice fierce. Then maybe it's time to stop fighting each other and start preparing for what's coming. Neither. Captain answered. They looked at him, at the child beside him, and said nothing. Silence was its own truth. Outside, the Guardian raised its colossal arms. Its booming voice filled the skies. You have seen the final secret. Choose unity, or repeat the fall of the ancients. For a moment no one moved. The fleets hung in stillness, soldiers watching their commanders, commanders watching their enemies. Raylan held his breath. Was this the start of peace, or the spark of another war? Lyra squeezed his hand gently. No matter what they choose, we must be ready. The core dimmed, its light fading back into the earth. The visions were gone, but the weight of them remained heavy in Raylan's chest. He knew the truth now. Humanity had not been the first to rise, nor would they be the last. And somewhere in the dark, the shadow that had destroyed the ancients might still be waiting. Raylan looked at Lyra. She was only a child, yet she carried the burden of two civilizations. Her eyes glowed softly, filled with trust. You shouldn't have to bear this alone, he said quietly. Her lips curved in the faintest smile. I am not alone anymore. Above them, the fleets slowly powered back to life. Engines hummed. Weapons flickered online. The silence broke as ships moved once more. Raylan knew the fragile pause was ending. Some would return to their worlds with new fear. Others would plot to twist the truth for power. and others still would whisper of the shadow waiting in the dark. But one thing had changed forever. A human had stood beside a child of silver skin and chosen her over war. That choice could not be erased. As Raylan and Lyra returned to their alien ship, he looked back at the ruins one last time. The Guardian still stood tall, glowing eyes watching him as if judging his heart. He raised a hand in silent promise. He would not abandon this child. He would not abandon her people. Whatever storm waited in the dark, they would face it together. Lyra sat at the console, her hands glowing faintly as the ship awakened beneath her touch. She turned her head, eyes bright with determination. "Where do we go now?" she asked. Raylan took a deep breath, staring into the endless stars. His voice was steady, certain. Forward, always forward. The ship leapt into the dark, carrying them into a future uncertain, dangerous, and vast. But for the first time, Raylan did not feel alone. And somewhere in the shadows of space, the final secret waited to rise again.